Good day everybody, I'm Thea from Hortgrove and I'm going to start the day with a few trade and market trends. If a fruit producer operates in a highly regulated environment, illustrated by this tree, as you can see, a producer faced with loads of realities, some of which he has control over and others he does not. It is important that anything and everything done in this environment are aimed to adding value. The total pome, stone and dry and table grapes area planted in South Africa are about 79,803 hectares. 44% of this are pome fruit, 22% stone, and 34% are dry and table grapes. As you can see, it is highly concentrated in the Western Cape area, with 72% of the plantings there. 17% are in the Northern Cape, that is mostly the grapes, and then 8% are in the Eastern Cape. As I just mentioned, about 35,000 hectares of pome fruit are planted in South Africa. About 1.2 million tons of pome fruit are produced each year. 66% of this are marketed as fresh fruit, and 32 are being processed. The value of the pome fruit industry is calculated at about 7.2 billion rand per annum, of which 93% are generated by the fresh portion. And then going on to the stone fruit, just under 18,000 hectares are planted in South Africa, with about 280,000 tons being produced each year. About 44% of this fruit are marketed as fresh, with 50% going for processing. This large portion of processing are mainly due to cling peaches and apricots, which are mainly going for processing. And then the value of the stone fruit industry are about 2 billion rand per annum, of which 79% are generated by the fresh portion. And then, now going a step further with the age distributions. As you can see from this graph, most of the apple and pear hectares planted are relatively young, with new hectares being established and old hectares being replaced. So we can expect a lot of volume growth due to the age of the orchards. Onto the stone fruit, as you can see, the same trend, with most of the orchards relatively young, indicating volume growth, except in the case of apricots, where 40% of the hectares planted are older than 18 years. Okay, now just a quick look at the SA fruit industry supply chain. It is a very long and integrated supply chain, starting even before planting and producing, with cultivar development, plant breeding, and research. It is of critical importance that quality is maintained throughout this process to ensure optimal eating quality and, as you can see in the end, an happy consumer. Consolidation is also taking place within the industry, with farming units becoming larger. At this stage, about 30% of our producers are producing about 80% of the volume. Producers are also evolving, taking on the role of grower, packer, as well as marketer or exporter. In total, in South Africa, about 1.5 million tons of pome and stone fruit are being produced per year. Every fruit kind or product is different. As you can see in the case of apricots, about 75% of the volume produced are going for processing. But in the case of plums, about 74% of the volume produced are going for export. But giving an overall look, we can see that in total, about 41% of pome and stone fruit produced are going for export. So what does the future hold? Hortgrove has a midterm projection on the production each year that so that we can anticipate what volumes to expect in about 5 years' time. On pome fruit, we expect a growth on the 2014 volumes of about 18%, and on the stone fruit, after quite a dip in volume in 2013-14 due to unfavorable weather conditions, we expect about a growth of 15%. So where do we export our fruit to? Most of the palm and stone fruit from South Africa are exported to the EU, followed by the UK and Far East with 19% share, the UK and Far East respectively, and then Africa with 18% share, and then the Middle East 12% share. Again, every fruit kind is different and has a different market distribution. There is no one size fits all, as well with the preferences of each market. We can see that most of the eastern countries, the East, prefer red fruit, with Africa being a green apple market, with 70% of the apples exported to Africa being goldens. The major importers in Africa are Nigeria. They import about 44% of our apples that are going to Africa, followed by Kenya, Senegal, Angola, and Ghana. From the following graphs, I'm going to show a few market distribution trends. From this graph, we can see that there was quite a lot of shifts in our apple export markets over the past decade. Africa became our largest market with about 32% market share in 2014. Our more traditional markets, the UK and EU, losing share. The same trend can be seen with pears, with the EU and UK losing share, but here the Middle East gained share with about 18% share year to date for 2015. And then on to stone fruit. With apricots, we can also see the EU and UK losing market share, with the Middle East gaining share with 35% market share in 2014-15. The nectarines, the nectarines market distribution are more steady and stable. Over the last 3 years, after losing some share, the UK recovered with about 58% market share in 2014-15. And the Middle East gaining share with about 19% share in 2014-15. And then on peaches, also more stable market distribution. The Middle East losing a bit of share over the last 5 to 8 years, and the UK again gaining share with 39% market share in 2014-15. And then the plums. Plums are looking more like apricots, with the EU and UK, the traditional markets, losing market share, and the Middle East gaining share with 17% share in 2014-15. And then I'm on to my final few slides. PPCB does quality inspections, as you know, and based on their rejections, I compiled a summary for palm and stone fruit, where we can see the volumes rejected for the last 2 or 3 seasons, as well as the top reasons for the rejections. Okay, so on palm fruit, we can see a declining in the percentage rejections for the last 3 seasons. And then just over 1 million cartons are rejected year to date for 2015. I calculated a value for that rejections based on the local value at this stage, and that is about 80 million rand. The top reasons for the rejections was red spider infestation, bruising, and then mealybug infestation. On stone fruit, we can also see a decline in the percentage rejected, with a value of about 16 million rand linked to the amount of rejections in 2014-15. And the top reasons for the rejections was immaturity, overmaturity, and then bricks. And then I was asked to give a bit more information on the current market challenges. It is not my area of expertise, and if you need any more information, you can ask Lindy Bennick. She helped me compile the following information. Starting with the EU, the main challenges in this market are the ongoing loss of critical chemicals like TPA, as well as the developing concerns related to chemicals like chlorides. The extensive non-regulatory MRL requirements and the developing phytosanitary risks are also concerning. And then going on to the Southeast Asia, the increasing SPS requirements like the recognition of import country food safety systems, and the changing of future import requirements are major challenges. In Africa, especially Nigeria, the varying import permit requirements are challenging. And then China, after 12 years, we gained access to China. Next in line is pears and then stone fruit. And then finally the USA, the running average principle remains a challenge, and the intensified risk management is needed. And the rejections for non-actionable mealybugs species on pears are also challenging.